to Mr. OKOLUGBO says government is not talking to the people of the Niger Delta, and but there's obviously been some kind of relative calm. Could it be that perhaps government is strategizing on ways to delve into the matter?
Well, my dear, this is a much more serious matter, the discussion than government predilections. Look, the fact of the matter is that we cannot develop under these circumstances. This system is unsustainable. This system cannot be sustained. Maybe you have not been told and you have not seen the analysis. This system will spend virtually 80% of the total earning of Nigeria to run the Nigerian bureaucracy. Under the parliamentary system, 50% of the total earning from whatever mineral resources or produce from your environment is retained by you. You send 50 to the central, and which is where it is distributed in another distributable pool. But that is even by the way. The fact of the matter that you must try to tell the characters in power is the fact that this system, this current national structure is lopsided, it is warped, it's unreasonable, it's unfair, it cannot stand. It's not only the Elijah Atiku who is talking, the immediate Chief Justice of Nigeria, Dahiru Mustafa, at the birthday lecture he gave in Abeokuta some months ago, himself said, Nigerians are more divided than now, than when we got independence. And when, never in any given country, where you have agitation from all over the country, and the agitation is being propelled again by violence, it tells you that compulsorily it's a time to rethink.
Okay,
what we're asking them to do is not to do any magic. Nigeria state has a way of, honestly, they belittle and they ridicule things. The Nigerian government today now set up one panel. Look, when a large pool of Nigerians sat down on that Jonathan conference, some large pool under Obasanjo's conference, how can you now say one fellow who's a politician to come and sit down over what those people have considered?
Okay, let me ask Mr. Opadokun. Yeah. We've had conferences, we've had so many conferences.
Yes.
What then is wrong? Why do you think government is not heeding to the call of the people for restructuring and seeing the importance and the need for restructuring?
I tell you what, the Nigerian army, having captured Nigeria, the politicians among them who captured Nigeria on January 15, and after the revenge coup of 27th of July 1966, and the fostered 3-year civil war that was fought, the Nigerian army had captured Nigeria. And since then till today, it is either they are there or they are agents, they are surrogates.
Even now, when we are in the democratic
even now, who is the president today? Eh? It is their agents, their surrogates, their confederates, their acolytes that are in power. The truth of the matter is that whether they want to listen or not, Nigeria is ripe for a restructuring. And what I'm saying is that they should not even waste time. Let's go back to the 1963 Federal Constitution. We have been a lying country. We have been lying to ourselves that we are a federation. We are not. We have been a unitary government since the military took over in 1966. And they have been running us running the system as a centralized government. And that's why you talk about the matter of corruption. That's why corruption is pervasive. Eh? If you run it, look, for example, part of the restructuring that is urgent it has to do with the National Assembly.
Yeah,
why must we have a bicameral legislature?
The need for a bicameral legislature.
Why must we have that one?
If we are in practice running a unitary system of government.
Okay, if you look at it, a bicameral legislature is because we are modeling our system after America, the presidential system of government. If you notice in America,
in reality or in the books?
Well, in reality, that's exactly what we are doing. Because if you notice, but even in America, we don't have a Senate president. It's actually the vice president that is the head of the Senate. And you have a speaker who now acts in charge, takes that charge of being the head of the National Assembly. The vice president will only step in when there are issues. Now, the bicameral system we are running is pretty expensive. If you look at the 2014 conference, it clearly said that the president should pick up his vice president from the legislature. And the ministers can only be appointed 30% outside the legislature.
And then the
now, by the time you do that, you have reduced.
Basis.
You just answered it. You just took it away from me. So exactly if you do that, that is why you notice that I felt very bad when the former SGF said that he was going to trash the 2014 conference and that it wasn't something that was worth looking at. Because the kind of people that sat down in that conference, the likes of Justice Oguntade, the likes of Papa Clark, the likes of the Etsu of Nupe and the Adama and the MIA in Adamawa, and so many of them that you can talk about. Let me not even look at personalities. Let me look at where Ayo Opadokun is coming from. We're looking at a system where we are going to make government less expensive. We have looked at the local government system. Now, if you notice, the local government system is such that the local government is killing itself because they cannot even talk of their own independence. The legislatures are not able to vote in the states because their governors would stop them from voting for the independence of the legislature. So what was the 2014 conference all about? They said, give back the local governments to the governors. Abolish these local government election panels that will just carry out elections, and at the end of the day you see that one party wins every seat and no other party would be able to win in any local government election. That tells us exactly that this restructuring is something that has been delayed for a very long time. People just put pen to paper and pay lip service into restructuring. Now, it will interest you to know that in Zamfara there is a large deposit of gold. In Ekiti has so much. Do you know how many? Ekiti has almost 18 to 19 natural mineral deposits. If you remove that from the exclusive legislative list, for example, and allow Ekiti to harness their natural, God-given, even if it is cobalts they have, even if it is the sand that they use in running tar roads, if they can get all these outside the exclusive legislative list, which has made it impossible for Ekiti legislatures to be able to debate on it, you find that the Ministry of Mines and Power will start working. But today, what are we talking about? We are talking about diversification. What has Kayode Fayemi achieved? Will you really blame him? That is the question you must put, because you give him 220 billion and you say that is one area I want to earn money from. You talk about agriculture, but the most annoying thing is that the first thing I thought they should do was to remove mining, remove our God-given natural resources from the exclusive legislative list, and would have known that this government was serious about having to diversify. That is the restructuring we are talking about. Making your money and paying tax to the center.
Okay, the calls definitely.
That is exactly what it should be.
Going on and on, the calls for restructuring have been protracted. Well, long overdue. You know, what do we do then? Do we all have another national conference?
No,
do we go back and forth?
No, there is no. You see, I want us to be serious about this matter. You know, as it's talking about just as little aspect of it, one by one, but the baseline, upon which every other thing will fall into line, is that we return to the federal structural arrangements upon which we secured independence. Can I say this again? Once again, Nigerians have not been asked as to whether or not they want to be part of this place called Nigeria.
So you're suggesting a referendum?
We ought to have had that one. Perhaps the first thing that ought to happen in the national conference is to ask the question, do you want to belong to Nigeria? Perhaps as a result of the long period of mutual existence, the answer will be yes. But then the second question will arise. Our mutual existence will be on what terms? What will be the modus operandi? What will be the rule of engagement? So that you can now, upon that we can fashion our own indigenous constitution called autochthonous constitution.
All right.
Which will be federal.